Now, this is technically part 2 of my SANKISHIN series, I guess, little mini-series. This time I'm talking about the Tsukuyomi units. Now, I've already talked about the Susanoo unit, so if you guys want to see that, I'll put the link in the pinned comment below. So, now we can finally talk about the Tsukuyomi unit. While the Tsukuyomi unit is one of the 3 SANKISHIN and a very powerful weapon, being a shield with perfect defense, it has the least amount of focus compared to the other 2 SANKISHIN, those being the Master Unit Amaterasu and the Susanoo unit. Now, unlike the Susanoo unit, who eventually gained its own will, which would later lead to the birth of Yuki Terumi, as well as being the main reason Hakumen exists, because, without the Susanoo unit, there could be no Hakumen, and the Master Unit Amaterasu being equivalent to the BlazBlue version of God, along with the wackiness of all of the Origin and Saya, the Tsukuyomi unit is nothing more than a shield with nothing else to it, which is kind of a shame. Because, the Susanoo unit / Terumi / Hakumen get a lot more focus. The Amaterasu unit / the Origin / Sai get a lot of focus, but nothing about the Tsukuyomi unit gets barely any kind of focus compared to those 2. It's pretty much just a big, flashy shield. So as I mentioned before in my Susanoo unit video, the SANKISHIN all serve a purpose regarding time. The Master Unit Amaterasu governs over time, the Susanoo unit can cut time, and the Tsukuyomi unit's primary purpose is to protect time. While the discovery of the Susanoo unit within the boundary will eventually lead to the discovery of the Master Unit Amaterasu, the Tsukuyomi unit usually isn't mentioned all that much. It kind of didn't really play a part in the Prime Field War, unlike the Master Unit Amaterasu, so it kind of just didn't really play a part. The only thing we really know about the Amaterasu unit in regards of anything way back, obviously, back when it existed as one of the SANKISHIN, the only thing we really know about it, that far back other than that, is Rachel somehow managed to get her hands onto the Tsukuyomi unit. I don't know how she did it. I just know that she did, and she has it now, so yay Rachel. The first time we see the Tsukuyomi unit in action is when it was used in BlazBlue Calamity Trigger, when Rachel activates it to stop the destruction of the 13th hierarchical city of Kagatsuchi by Gigant Takemikazuchi's blast at the end of the game by blocking its attack.
Nulliplex restriction mechanism released. Dimensional interruption imaginary number developing. Connecting to congenital border. Activating Tsukuyomi unit. It's impossible. Even you cannot defeat Tsukuyomi's absolute defense. It will be 4 years before you can awaken again. Until then, go to sleep, young one.
The next time that Rachel activates the Tsukuyomi unit is in BlazBlue Chrono Phantasma, when she uses it on Ragnar to protect him from being corrupted by the boundary, as when he was sent back in time to the era of the Dark War. The last time we ever see the Tsukuyomi unit used, it was also in Chrono Phantasma, when Rachel summons the unit to protect the Master Unit Amaterasu from being destroyed by Gigant Takemikazuchi yet again. This time, the Nox Nictorious was in control of Izanami, who wanted to use it to destroy the Amaterasu unit. Rachel activates the Tsukuyomi unit, protects Amaterasu, prevents it from being struck down by Takemikazuchi. So you may be wondering, or just don't care, as for where the Tsukuyomi unit goes when it's not in use. See, the Susanoo unit can't really go anywhere because it's always out, and the same thing goes for the Master Amaterasu. I mean, you can't really... It doesn't really go anywhere unlike the Tsukuyomi unit. Like, Rachel can just summon the unit straight up and just make it go away when she's not using it. So where does it go? So apparently Rachel absorbs the unit into her own body in order to, when it's not in use, she'll just put it in her own body, and then when she needs to use it, she'll activate this this activation call or incantation and just summon the unit, do its thing, and then just put it back in her. So, there's that. That's pretty much everything I said so far is all that's pretty much known about the Tsukuyomi unit. Again, the Tsukuyomi unit doesn't get much focus compared to the Master unit, Amaterasu, or the Susanoo unit. The Tsukuyomi unit is essentially a very powerful shield, and that's it. Honestly, I feel like I could say more about the actual Tsukuyomi in Japanese mythology than the actual unit itself. So, since this video was actually relatively short, I feel like I should actually talk about the actual goddess Tsukuyomi. Now, for those who don't know, and, well, I guess Japanese mythology is pretty well known. There are 3 known, the highest god, well, not the highest, but the most well-known gods of Japanese mythology, being Tsukuyomi, Susanoo, and Amaterasu. Now, Tsukuyomi was actually one of the 3 gods that Izanagi created when he washed himself of the sins of the Yomi-no-kuni, aka the underworld, when he was confronting his now disgusting hag of a wife, Izanami. Izanagi kind of got all those sins. He's like, okay, I'm washing myself. This is disgusting. The underworld's disgusting. So, he washed himself. And then, he created he created all 3 of those gods. And Tsukuyomi was apparently created, out of his eye or something like that. I forgot exactly where Tsukuyomi was created from, because, each god was born from a different part of Izanagi's body, but it's apparently said that Tsukuyomi was born out of Izanagi's right eye, so, there's that. But anyway, Tsukuyomi is he's a man. He was married to Amaterasu, his sister, so yeah, there's a lot of incest in Japanese mythology. Hell, Izanagi and Izanami were married, and, the creation of Japan resulted from incest. But anyway, so at one point, Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu were together. They were married, and apparently the sun and moon shared the same sky, right? But there was the food goddess Ukamochi, and she was able to create food from her body. The way she created food was such an unorthodox way of creating food that Tsukuyomi was this food looks good, but this is so disgusting. I hate this. Get this out of my face. So Tsukuyomi got pissed and killed Ukamochi because he was so disgusted at the way she created her own food. And Amaterasu didn't like that whatsoever. Amaterasu was so displeased that they kind of got the most epic divorce ever. And then Amaterasu didn't want anything to do with Tsukuyomi anymore. It's why would you do this? Why would you do such a thing? This is evil. This is mean, Tsukuyomi. Why would you do this? So essentially what happens is that she broke off from Tsukuyomi. She would never ever look at him again, and she eventually just moved to a different part of the sky. And that eventually that's the reason why the sun and the moon aren't together at once. Because they used to share the same sky. They were together, but now since Tsukuyomi was, been an asshole and killed Ukamochi for the way she created her food, Amaterasu was like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Get out of my face. I don't like you anymore. I hate you. You're not my brother. You're not even my husband anymore. F you. So she went to a different part of the sky, and that's why the sun and the moon aren't together anymore. They gotta, cycle it, which is a funny ass way of trying to justify the sun and the moon not being together. But hey, this is Japanese mythology, man. Japanese mythology is weird and crazy. So, Tsukuyomi in the name meaning, now the word Tsuku could also be read as the name Suki. The kanji is essentially the same thing, but Tsuku or Suki in this case either means moon or month. They read as moons. If you guys ever noticed what her face was? The duodecim, right? They have the word Uki in their name. Their names are based off the months, the Japanese months. Mutsuki represents January. Yayoi and Kisaragi. Kisaragi and Yayoi don't have the word the same meaning in their name, but they do represent February and March respectively. They still have the name in there. They just don't has the same meaning, and it just goes on and so forth. They each represent each member of the duodecim. Their last name represents a month of the year of the Japanese year. So Suki means moon. And Yomi could mean moon. Could be mean reading, or something like that. Like, it's like moon reader of sorts. Like, so Tsukuyomi essentially means moon reader. There's also a meaning in the book called the Nihon Shoki, or the Chronicles of Japan. They spelled the name Tsukuyomi, which means moon bow. Like Tsuku, Yumi means bow. There's also another meaning called Tsukiyo, which also means moonlit night, which they kind of jammed the kanji together. Like Tsukiyo means moonlit night, and mi was like looking or watching. Like Tsukuyo, moonlit night, mi, looking or watching. So moonlit night watching. It's complicated, and I probably failed to show the kanji on screen because I probably missed it making this video because this is a last minute edition. But yeah. Also, it's the funny thing about in Japanese mythology is that like they kind of like flip flop. They really don't have a specific gender on Tsukuyomi. At least that's what I'm aware of. There are some different kinds of media that use Tsukuyomi as a female, mostly female, even though Tsukuyomi is kind of referred to as a male, but it's like kind of like you only get like certain readings. Like there's this book called the Mon Yoshu, where like Tsukuyomi is actually referred to as Tsukuyomi Otoko, and Otoko means man, so like moon reading man. So, you know, yeah, it's kind of like that, but people usually refer to Tsukuyomi as a man. I prefer Tsukuyomi was a woman, but it makes total sense because there's no way he could have been married to Amaterasu and have like actual children. So there's that. But yeah, that's Tsukuyomi in a nutshell. Like, there's more to it, but honestly, I just didn't want to go to it in depth. Honestly, like went like 5 minutes longer than I have to. So I'll see you all next time. Peace, everyone. Just stay out there and do not eat any food that is produced by freaking goddesses because it's disgusting. And I'm just gonna